There's a ton of hype right now about showing up in AI search, and a ton of our contractor clients are hitting us up and they're saying, hey, there's people calling us every day. They're talking about AI search and how it's the new thing, and everyone's super excited about it. There's a ton of hype. And for this video, I just want to cut through some of the hype and be straight about like what this stuff actually is. First thing I always have to say is when people call you out of the blue, people you've never heard of, and they're trying to sell you anything, it's either a scam or it's most likely not very good. So I would just be super careful of random people calling you. I get called all the time, people trying to sell me all sorts of stuff. In my early days of business, when I was just getting calls and it was really fun and exciting to get a call from anybody, I took some of those offers and regretted it almost every time. There's only one time I can think of when I responded to somebody and ended up hiring them and been paying these people for some software for years. But every other time it was a mistake. So just be careful of that. As far as the AI search stuff goes, what I've found, as somebody who's in the marketing and the SEO world, SEO is like Google search, things like that. If you want to show up when people use AI, the best rule of thumb is show up when people search on Google, because AI is doing very similar searches. And I'll even show you. I did a couple demo searches just a minute ago, and let's take a look. So this first one is on ChatGPT. I just said, who is the best remodeling contractor in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to do my bathroom? And lo and behold, my family's remodeling company shows up number one. That's cool. I didn't really expect that to happen, but that's not really the point of this. The point of this isn't to say, oh, we're really good at AI search. We didn't go out of our way to show up on ChatGPT. We're just show up on Google. And how do we do that? We just try to be like the best search result possible. And what's cool about AI, and what I recommend doing yourself if you're interested in this, is do a search like this, or do a handful of searches like this on ChatGPT or whatever platform you use in your area, and see who shows up. Do you show up? Does somebody else? And you can then ask it, why did you reach this conclusion? And the AI will literally tell you what it looked at in order to reach this conclusion. So for this particular search, it says it used 4 main signals: longevity and owner involvement. So our company's been online for like 30 years. Norm and Chuck, the owners, are the ones that are involved. The AI thinks that owner involvement is a big deal. That's the first thing that it said. How long have they been around, and is the owner involved? The second thing is relevancy. So we specifically advertise that we do bathrooms, and so ChatGPT looked at us as relevant. The competing evidence was mixed. So this is where it gets interesting for me, because this is where it's saying it's more competitive for us. We weren't the shoe-in. And so ChatGPT is telling us it looked at BuildZoom. It looks at different places online. It looks like BuildZoom was the main source for this one. And so that was a big factor. I've done other searches and seen that they'll look at Facebook reviews and house reviews sometimes, like different AIs at different times. I could do the same exact search again on ChatGPT in an hour, and it might give me slightly different results. And then number 4 was the fit for custom hands-on remodel. Just again, looking at how relevant we are. So if I was another company looking at this, I would look at each one of these factors and say, well, okay, we can't go back in time and start our company sooner, but we can broadcast on our website that the owners are involved and make a bigger deal about that, because AI seems to think that's important, and AI thinks it's important because people tend to think it's important. All these AI tools are trying to do is help people find what they would have already found if they were looking themselves. And so there's no like crazy new techniques. If you are the best company in your area and you're good at showing that, then the AI is going to pick you. Why wouldn't it? And if people offer you like tricks and techniques to like cheat the system and trick AI into showing your company, those things might work for a little while, But just be aware that you're up against the AI companies and the companies like Google who are actively trying to fight that. They don't want it to be manipulated. They want it to be honest, because if it's manipulated, then people will use it less because it won't be as reliable. So these big companies like ChatGPT, they don't want people to be able to do some kind of technique that makes their company show up that isn't legit. So just keep that in mind. I did the same search on Google AI. Who's the best remodeler for large renovations? Again, it showed us first. Pretty badass. Like, I didn't know it was going to do that. Let's ask it why. Let's see, did I ask it already? Yeah. So why did I choose that? So I haven't even looked at this yet, so we're looking at it together for the first time. So a decade of local permitting and code experience. So this actually seems to have looked at public records and seen the actual permits that we've pulled, and so that's pretty cool. If you're a company that should be pulling permits and you're not, maybe consider that. That is publicly available knowledge. Single point accountability. So this is back to the owner involvement thing. So Google, this is number 2 on Google's checklist. Protection against budget creep. That's interesting. Let's see. Public feedback. Where did it even get this information? I'm not sure. Maybe from our website, it looks like. So it's really leaning heavy on our website and what we say about ourselves, which is a great argument for making sure your website is as good as possible. So when it comes to AI search, like, don't buy into the hype. We manage about 160 websites, and so we look and see all the time where are the searches coming from. And places like ChatGPT are still a really, really, really tiny percentage. So some people are using ChatGPT to find local businesses, but the majority are still using Google, because honestly, for me, there was a time recently where Google was putting the AI search above all other searches, and I was having to skip over it to get to Google Maps, because Google Maps is already an extremely efficient way to find somebody. In 2 seconds, you can see who has the most reviews, you can read some of the reviews, you can look at a website. It's not particularly challenging to find a good contractor to work with on Google. So people are turning to AI for that kind of thing less, but certainly as time goes on, people will be using AI more and more. And in the coming years, they're gonna have, your AI assistant will be doing so much stuff for you, most likely. And so in that point, AI search will be more important. But if you're already dominating on Google, then you're already perfectly positioned to dominate on AI search. So I would start there. If you're curious where you land in your market, you want me to take a look at your business, there's a link in the description. Find that link, fill out the form, get on a call with me, and I'm happy to take a look at your stuff and tell you what I see.